SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
SportsBeat is live. Tonight on the show, we take you to the NBA bubble in Orlando. You'll hear from Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and more as the Jazz continue to train in preparation for the NBA restart on July 30th. Also, you'll hear from Urban Meyer tonight, his thoughts on the challenge college football faces with COVID-19. But first, a special night for soccer fans here in Utah. March 7th. That was the last time Real Salt Lake played a game, a 1-1 draw in the home opener against the New York Red Bulls. The long wait for RSL fans is over. The team made their debut in the MLS's back tournament in Orlando. The opponent, the hated Colorado Rapids. And it was clear from the start who the best club was. Real Salt Lake dominated possession from the start, 6 minutes. Corey Baird with a great chance, but he hit the crossbar. That hurts. 21st minute, Douglas Martinez has a chance in the box, but it's saved by Clint Irwin. Finally, in the 27th minute, Real Salt Lake would find the back of the net.
Good service. Irwin only half away, and Rusnak has scored! Albert Rusnak picking up where he left off.
RSL took a 1-0 lead into the locker room at halftime, 70th minute. The Rapids make a big mistake. Douglas Martinez has a shot. Clint Irwin has no choice but to challenge him hard in the box. You can make a case this deserves a red card. The ref gives him a yellow, and a PK chance for Albert Rusnak. Blocked. Irwin with the double save. Heartbreak for RSL, but that feeling didn't last long. Damir Kreilach finds a crack in the Rapids defense. He gives RSL a 2-0 lead, and that is the final. Real Salt Lake continues their dominance of the Rapids, takes 3 points in Group D. Next up, Minnesota United on Friday. All right, Utah continues to host the NWSL Challenge Cup in Harriman. The Utah Royals, with 1 game left before the knockout stage, taking on the Chicago Red Stars at Zions Bank Stadium tonight. We'll pick this up in the 10th minute. Chicago has a scoring chance, but Abby Smith is there for the save. Then Kalea Watt, one of the greatest athletes the state of Utah has ever produced, the Alta High grad, takes a shot, but it's stopped. Another shot for the Royals. Long distance try from Madeline Knopf, goes over the crossbar. Another scoring chance in the 30th minute. Ariel Ship takes a shot, but stopped by Alyssa Meyer. Just before the half, Abby Smith steps up again with another big save. She takes one for the team. The match was scoreless into the 85th minute when disaster strikes for the Royals. What a ball by Savannah McCaskill. And Casey Short heads it in. A spectacular play for the Red Stars. That would be the only goal of the match. 1-0 the final. The Royals finish group play 1-2-1, 4 points. We wait to see who the Royals face in the knockout stage next week.
Here's play right there. Splits the defender out front, drives inside. Show the rebound. Rudy maybe got a hand up on it. Clarkson, that's his spot. Bang! Straight away. Look, there's more of that. And Buckets gets the bucket. Yes, he does. He's inside. And that's how you finish. Oh, taken away. Take it to the rim. Pass Donovan. Just beat the clock. Pulls it down from way downtown.
The wait is almost over. We're just 18 days away from the return of NBA basketball. The Utah Jazz get it all started with a game against Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans on July 30th. The Utah Jazz journey in the NBA bubble began on Tuesday. Jazz arrived in Orlando, the Magic Kingdom, went through all the testing, and they were ready to take the court for the first time on Thursday. The Jazz have now held 4 practices in training camp, and based on what the players are saying, things are going well in practice, and the team is in shape and ready to go.
And, you know, Coach let us go out there and you know, kind of get body to body and get physical again, something we haven't been able to do in a long time. And, you know, guys, obviously there's going to be a little bit of rest here and there just with timing, but guys had great energy, and I think guys came back in shape.
Because we were off for so long, you know, you have to go back and touch some things. But, you know, how much time do you spend on things like habits? You know, early in the year in training camp, we had so many new players that, you know, I coached our team a little bit like a younger team. And looking back on that, I may have done it a little differently.
It's definitely good that we have these 2 weeks to come out here, practice, and get ready. So I think it's all just flowing, and we're keeping the vibes going.
Like I said, it's been really cool to get back out there and compete with the guys and talk a bit of and it's fun.
It's good to see Joe back. With Bojan Bogdanovic out, the Jazz will need someone to step up and replace his 20 points per game. It will have to be a group effort, but the one player that seems as an obvious choice is Mike Conley. Now, Mike struggled to find a rhythm and comfort during the season. Injuries played a big role in that, but the restart has been good for Mountain Mike, and everyone is excited to see what he can do.
Since he's come back, there's more of a comfort level, and that's allowed him to be more instinctive. That's what we want from him. He can't take a bad shot as far as I'm concerned, and I want him to play like that. You mentioned being in attack mode. He's one of those guys. So I think he was really finding a groove before the break. Coming back, he's as instinctive as he was, before the hiatus.
What the Utah Jazz and the other 29 teams in the NBA are doing is unprecedented, taking 4 months off during a pandemic and then returning to action in a bubble without fans or travel. There's no blueprint for this. Quinn Snyder and his staff will be tested to figure things out on the fly in order to get this team ready for the playoffs. So far, so good.
The coach has adapted to the way, everybody play, missing Bojan, having to adjust, the way we play, like our style. But I think coach is adapting, a way that helps us out and, play more freely, but still have a lot of structure the way he wants us to play. I want him to be confident. And really, I think the identity of our team, emphasizing to them that, there may be some adjustments, but the identity of the team is intact. That's really the main thing is, to do this and not overcoach them. And, sometimes, I can screw them up. So I'm trying not to do that.
We'll have more with the Jazz later in the show. Now to college football. Bad news dropped Friday that will impact the Utes, Cougars, and Aggies. The Pac-12 Conference has decided that all schools in the conference will play conference-only schedules during fall semester in all sports, and that includes football. That means the rivalry game between BYU and Utah is canceled. The Pac-12 explained that the reasoning behind this decision is to safeguard the health and well-being of student-athletes, coaches, staff, and all associated with athletic events, and to provide the maximum flexibility in scheduling because of COVID-19. The Pac-12 is also delaying the start of mandatory athletic activities until a series of health and safety indicators, which have recently trended in a negative direction, provide sufficient positive data to enable a move to a second phase of return-to-play activities. Utah Director of Athletics Mark Harlan released the following statement on Friday. While we support the Pac-12 Conference's decision to only play conference games this fall in football, volleyball, and soccer, we are disappointed for our student athletes, coaches, and fans. We know it is particularly difficult to miss the rivalry matchups with BYU in those sports, and we look forward to continuing those as soon as possible, as soon as we are able. These are truly unprecedented times, and we are working diligently to determine appropriate solutions while prioritizing the health and safety of everyone involved. Our conference and university leadership has provided great support and direction informed by leading health experts and data. We will work with our colleagues at each of the non-conference institutions impacted by Friday's decision to reschedule those contests, and we will provide more information about our schedules and our home events when they become available. The Pac-12 was not the first Power 5 conference to make the move to conference-only play in 2020. The Big Ten made that announcement on Thursday. This decision will, of course, have a major impact on BYU's schedule. They lose 2 games on the schedule, a home game against Michigan State, road game at Minnesota. So BYU Athletics released the following statement. In response, quote, the Big Ten's announcement today obviously has specific ramifications regarding the 2020 BYU football schedule. As we navigate the uncertainties of the current pandemic, BYU will continue to have discussions with other universities and our stakeholders. So to make the best possible decisions for our student athletes and our athletic program, end quote there. All right, no team in the country has been impacted more by these 2 decisions than BYU. The Cougars have now lost 5 games on their 2020 schedule, including all games scheduled in the month of September. The season opener at Utah, Michigan State, Arizona State, and Minnesota. BYU also loses the regular season finale against Stanford. BYU now has just one Power 5 team left on the schedule. That is Missouri of the SEC. Now, for seniors like Troy Warner and Kairos Tonga, this was their last chance to get a win over Utah. Both turned to social media to share their opinion on the decision. Offensive line coach Eric Mateos also chimed in saying, all I know is the Brigham BMI boys want the smoke. Whoever puts their hand down, we will be ready. Just focus on being the best version of us, and it'll all work out. Hashtag Blue Grit. Now, Utah football had non-conference games scheduled with BYU, Montana State, and a road game at Wyoming. We will now wait and see how the Pac-12 decides to move forward with conference-only scheduling this fall for football. We don't know yet what that's going to be. We don't know when the first game will be and if the conference will play 9, 10, 11, or 12 conference games. Utah senior wide receiver Samson Nakua shared on Twitter his thoughts on the cancellation of the rivalry game. He said, quote, "Haha, BYU's right down the street from us, but we can't play them because of COVID. We're going to travel hundreds of miles to play in California, where COVID's one of the worst states. Let's think this through, people." Well, the decision's already been made. The Utah State Aggies are also impacted by these decisions. Their home opener was going to be against the Washington State Cougars on Thursday, September 3rd. A rare opportunity to play a Pac-12 opponent in Maverick Stadium. That game is canceled. They also lose a road game at Washington on September 19th. As of right now, no other games on the Aggies' schedule have been impacted. We will wait to see how the Mountain West, other Group of 5 conferences, and even FCS conferences like the Big Sky deal with playing a season during a pandemic, and we have no word yet on those Big Sky schedules. All right, back to BYU. They need to find up to 5 replacement opponents in a very short period of time. So how would that happen? How would they do that? Well, first, it depends on what the other Power 5 conferences decide to do. Alabama needs to replace USC on their schedule. Notre Dame now has open spots, but if the ACC goes to conference only, the Irish may be a part of that. They can also look to add games with schools like UNLV and New Mexico State on short notice. We'll have to wait and see. But you can be certain that if we do have college football this year, that ESPN will play a major role in helping BYU come up with replacement games. All right, up next, more from the Utah Jazz in Orlando. How will they adjust to playing without Bojan Bogdanovic?
You know, you got to do what you can, and this is where culture and leadership are going to be a drive the program.
With the college football season in jeopardy, Urban Meyer shares his thoughts on playing in a pandemic. Should college football move the season to spring?
Barcelak licks that one to left center field. Bo on the charge. Bo is there.
This play happened 30 years ago this weekend. The greatness of Bo Jackson inspired this week's Top 5. Who made the Top 5? Which plays made the Top 5? You'll find out after this. I bet Bo knows.
SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
Here we go. Who's going to take this shot and try to tie or win? Outside the bogey. He's crowded. It's Bogdanovic's corner. Wide open.
Oh, maybe you got to love it.
Adversity has been a constant theme for the Utah Jazz this season. They've dealt with plenty. The latest is the loss of their second leading scorer, Bojan Bogdanovic, who will miss the NBA restart after having surgery to repair his injured wrist. The challenge for the Jazz will be to not only make up for the 20 points per game that Bojan scored, but the other things he did too, especially his three-point shooting, to help space the floor for everyone else on offense. So how will the Jazz make up for the loss? Well, it's going to take a village.
What he brought was pretty high level. His scoring, his three-point shooting. I thought defensively and stuff, rebounding, he was probably better than what, I don't know if people anticipated him to be bad or not, but I thought he was really good on both ends, obviously, especially offensively.
There may be some adjustments, but the identity of the team is intact. We still want to defend. That's something to try to impress upon them.
Everybody's going to have to step up, play their role really well. And for me, it's just going in there, doing what Coach asked me to do. If that's coming off the bench, if that's starting, whatever situation it is, I feel like I'm ready. You know, coaches got a lot of trust in me, trusting a lot of guys, and I know everybody's going to step up.
Whether it's Jordan, you know, JC can do a lot of things. He's different off the dribble than Boyan. But there's some things that we did for Boyan that, you know, we can do for JC. We can do some things for Donovan.
Obviously, we much prefer to have Boyan here, but he's not. So we've done this for 6 years that I've been here. Guys have had to step up at different times with injuries and stuff like that. So it is nothing new in terms of that.
It's a balance because one player may be different. You know, Jordan may be different, say, than Boyan, but you know, he impacts the other guys on the court. So it's a question of, you know, Donovan adjusting to not having Boyan as much as it is, you know, our staff.
We'll continue to follow the Jazz in Orlando. And speaking of Orlando, the Real Salt Lake, they got a big win tonight in the bubble in Orlando. They get a 2-0 win over the Colorado Rapids. They continue to dominate their rival. RSL beat them 2-0. Albert Rusnak in the 27th minute found the back of the net, but Damir Krylak strikes in the 76th minute. That was the difference maker. He was the man of the match. Head coach Freddie Juarez says that any success the team had tonight is due to the squad's practices beforehand.
We had some very, very combative and close match games within our inner squads, and if anything of success that we got today was from the sparring team that we had, because guys were pushing the envelope and pushing the pace. So I think that's what prepared us the best. But overall, you know, what we take from it is a good start, especially when you start a tournament off.
All right, let's go back to the NWSL Challenge Cup. The early game Sunday, the Houston Dash and Washington Spirit. Washington with possession in the 16th minute. Former BYU star Ashley Hatch sets up her teammate Bailey Feist. And Washington all alone in second place with 7 points. 2 matches left in the group phase. They'll be Monday in Harriman. All right, a wild finish between Sporting Kansas City and Minnesota United, both in the same group as RSL. Sporting with the 1-0 lead, though. The whole match until stoppage time, an own goal off the free kick ties it up for Minnesota. And they weren't done. With time running out, Kevin Molino. Wow, what a rally. Sporting KC chokes in stoppage. RSL fans, you hate to see it. We got this good news this week. The UHSAA has made the decision to play high school sports this fall. That includes high school football. The decision by the board was unanimous. The board will meet again in 3 weeks to reevaluate the decision. Each high school will be under the jurisdiction of county health departments and must follow the guidelines that they provide. The UHSAA is recommending that there be no out-of-state travel. They are considering requiring masks at sporting events. Some districts are considering games without spectators, while others will try to make it happen if possible.
99% of the communication I have received in the last week have been from parents, educators, basically saying that our kids are hurting. They're hurting mentally. They want to return back to the way it was as much as they can. Parents and students can still opt out of high school activities just like they can opt out of in-person learning in most cases. But we want to provide, where it's safe, an opportunity for high school sports to continue.
The Deseret News has released the preseason high school football rankings. The state's coaches have voted, and in 6A, Corner Canyon is picked to repeat as state champs. Bingham, Lone Peak, American Fork, and East round out the top 5. Orem also picked to repeat in 5A. They're followed by Timpview, Olympus, Lehigh, and Brighton. Skyview picked to repeat in 4A. You see a trend here. Dixie, Pineview, Park City, and Snow Canyon will begin the season ranked. Morgan and Beaver also picked to repeat as champs in 3A and 2A, respectively. Now to golf, PGA Tour, the Workday Charity Open will start on the 4th hole with Colin Morikawa. A beautiful shot off the 6-iron. Wow, almost holes out. As good as that shot was, check this out from Chase Seifert on 11. Seifert rolls in for the birdie. Wow. But Morikawa got the last laugh, sinks the putt to win the workday charity open. Memorial is next weekend. The American Century Championship from Tahoe, you saw it here on KSL. Patrick Mahomes, one of the most popular guys on the course this weekend. After signing the biggest contract in NFL history, he gets an earful from his tight end, Travis Kelce. Another star quarterback from the past, Jim McMahon. In his signature barefoot, get up, sinks the long birdie there. Nice look, Jim. And the winner of the American Century Championship was former tennis pro Marty Fish, an easy putt to claim the title. Boogity, boogity, boogity. NASCAR Cup Series in Sparta, Kentucky, the Kentucky Cup. Tough day for Matt Kenseth. He had a pair of spin-outs. The best moment comes at the finish, though. And it was rookie Cole Custer coming up with his first career victory. Cole is just 22 years old. Man, his future is bright. All right, in this week's KSL Sports Archive, we dust off the tape for something that happened on this day in 1979. Yes, 41 years ago, one of the most infamous promotions in sports history, Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park.
Well, listen, we took all the disco records that you brought tonight. We got them in a giant box, and we're going to blow them up real good. Disco sucks. Disco sucks. Disco sucks. Disco sucks. Disco
98 cents and a disco record got you a ticket for Disco Demolition Night. 70,000 fans plus showed up. A stadium record after the Tigers beat the White Sox 4-1. Shock jock Steve Dahl of radio station WLUP ignited a large box full of disco records with explosives. Fans chanted "Disco sucks" as you saw there. Then thousands rushed the field and started a riot. As hard as he tried, the voice of the White Sox, Harry Carey, could not restore order.
Can you hear me out there? Holy cow! What say we all regain our seats so we can play baseball again?
No one was listening to Harry. The field was damaged so badly that the second game of the doubleheader couldn't be played. The White Sox had to forfeit. Police showed up in full riot gear to disperse the crowd. 39 people were arrested for disorderly conduct. Some out of Urban Meyer playing college football in a pandemic. Should college football move the season to spring? He shares his thoughts coming up next. Urban Meyer was a guest this week on the Crimson Corner podcast with Trevor Allen on KSLSports.com. A chance to hear from the former Utah head coach on a number of topics. You can go to KSLSports.com and watch the entire interview. The topic on everyone's mind, though, right now in the college football world is, will there be a season during a pandemic? And the Big Ten and the Pac-12's decisions leaved out. And if there is, how do teams manage the challenges of playing a season as we deal with the spread of COVID-19?
You know, you got to do what you can, and this is where culture and leadership are going to be drive the program, because these players have to do so much on their own. And football is unlike, all due respect to basketball and baseball. Football is a sport that you have to be trained. You can't take time off, really. You got to keep going, or your body won't be able to handle the stress and the pounding that it takes during training camp and the season.
Now, playing in the fall isn't possible. You've probably wondered if moving the season to the spring semester would make more sense. A chance to buy time until the number of cases comes down considerably. Or perhaps a vaccine is available by January or February. Well, Coach Meyer doesn't think playing in the spring makes any sense.
I don't think there's any chance. And when the season's over, if a player plays 1,000 reps and your body, your shoulders, your neck, you're just fatigued, that especially the high contact positions, those players, I would not make them do a lot during spring practice, because their bodies aren't fully healed from the wear and tear of a season. So from January until March, when you have spring practice, you have to let those bodies heal up. And then in spring practice, you're practicing every other day, not full contact, not like a game, not those practices every day. So I can't see how you do that. And then you play a schedule in the spring and what you're going to go back and do them again in the fall. So you're going to play 2,000 reps within like 1 calendar year. You're not going to do that. You know, I can't see that happening just because the nature of the sport of football.
Again, you can watch that interview on KSLSports.com. Things are getting weird in the NBA bubble. Guys might be a little bored. First, we know Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers is not a great shooter. He can't throw the ball into the ocean, and it turns out he can't throw a fish in the ocean either. Whoops. J.J. Redick of the New Orleans Pelicans. This is what he's doing to pass the time, shotgunning a beer. And this seems to be a trend because next up, Myers Leonard of the Miami Heat. He's doing the same. These guys, can't they play cards or something? What else are we doing in the bubble there, guys? Time for a short break. When SportsBeat returns, Tom Hackett takes on a tough challenger, one of the best young golfers in the state. The Hallowed Grounds is next.
The Hallowed Grounds, brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen.
Welcome in to this week's episode of The Hallowed Grounds. Berlin Lom, 16-year-old sensation at Lone Peak, is with us. We're up at Soldier Hollow. She's getting ready and we're pestering her prior to the 114th Women's Utah State Championship. I think I said that right. I don't know. It's a tongue twister. Regardless, here's how this thing works, Berlin. Really easy. We play 1, maybe 2 holes of golf. I'll ask you a few questions along the way. If you beat me, the Bushnell Tour V5 Patriot Pack is all yours. We're standing on the 4th par 4 on the Gold course, I think. And you'll be up here next week, so this is good practice. There just might not be a television here with you, but you know, pressure. More pressure, which is good. So tee box is all yours, okay. And I should say, if you beat me on this hole, we go to the par 3 5th, and all you have to do is hit it closest to the pin, okay. Which you've done many times already. Nice ball. Walk me through the course record 10 under 62. When did it happen?
It was last year, I think the beginning of June, or no, the beginning of July. And
it was on the silver course, we're on the gold.
Yes.
And what, you were just making everything?
Kind of. I hit it on the front nine, I didn't hit it great, but I was making a lot of putts. And then I actually holed out for eagle from like 60 yards on 16, or no, number 6. And then throughout the round, the back nine, I made some more birdies, and then I actually chipped in for eagle on 18 to win by 1.
2 eagles?
Tournament. Yeah.
Have you been to the Masters? Did I read that correctly?
Yeah.
You have been to Augusta.
I went to the drive, chip, and putt. I think it was in 2015, so a long time ago. But.
And how'd you fare, first of all?
Not very good.
You didn't do great?
I made it there, so that was good.
You were worried for a second there,
I
was. She was worried, I can
thought
tell.
You made it.
Look on her face. Nice roll.
Thank you.
Best of luck next week. So Monday, July 13th is when day 1 starts for the Women's Utah State Championship. I think I've said it wrong again, but you get the gist. It goes through Tuesday, correct? Up here at Soldier Hollow?
Actually, stroke play is Monday and Tuesday, and then match play is Wednesday and Thursday.
Wow, okay, 4 days. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Here's the deal. So we parred. Normally, you would have to beat me to win, okay? And I've never done this on the golf show. My boss is standing behind the camera right now. He's not going to be thrilled with me, but I'm going to give you this.
Thank you.
Because you're 16, you've got the world ahead of you, and hopefully it takes a few strokes off.
Let's hope so.
Off your round next week. So this is the latest Bushnell, courtesy of Bushnell. We appreciate them. And Berlin, thanks for coming on the show.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you for having me.
Berlin Lom, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome into this week's Pro Tip of the Week at the Ogden Golf and Country Club. Very fortunate to have Scott Erling with us, the Director of Golf up there at Weber State, go Wildcats, and as well as the head coach of the men's team. So Scott, we're going to work on some chipping techniques and drills, I guess, that people can go out and use.
Yeah, Tom, you know, one thing I see with my players and most golfers in general is that a lot of times when they're chipping around the greens, they have a hard time deciding what kind of shot they're going to hit. Is it going to be high? Is it going to be low? Do they want it to run a lot? You know, so on and so forth. So one thing I like to work on with people is like, okay, if I gave you the ball had you put it in your hand and said, okay, I want you to toss this as close to the hole as you can, almost inevitably they pick the right shot, just because intuitively their brain tells them how this is going to work. So, you know, when we're looking at a target like this one right here, you know, I just want to try to toss this as close to the hole as I can. I kind of pick the right trajectory, my landing spot on the green, and the ball gets close to the hole. This kind of helps you make a decision and takes a lot of the uncertainty out of the shot.
Golf for years has needed a little bit of little hit of fun, and music has become popular on golf courses. So Bushnell has come out with a very innovative product called the Wingman. This is a Bluetooth speaker. Great sound quality, but we've done a couple things to make this not just a Bluetooth speaker. One is the bite technology. You can throw this on the side of a cart. It's got 11 pounds of pull pressure. You can roll the cart and this thing's going to stay on there. Don't test that, but
so that's a magnet.
That's a magnet. Here's what separates this from the rest of the sound boxes or Bluetooth speakers. This is a GPS. So as you're going down the fairway playing your music, you just hit the button.
Center 131 yards, front 114, back 147.
Golf for days in Heber Valley at one of 5 beautiful mountain courses. Wasatch Golf Course, Soldier Hollow Golf Course, and the Homestead Golf Club are all within 7 miles of each other. Enjoy the feeling of getting away without the long drive.